Well, hello, Team Prosperity. I'm so excited to be here with you today. I know Mike's got a great training. We're going to talk about a playbook for 2021, so it's just a really, really exciting time. I hope everybody had a great holiday, and, December is here. We're all thinking about having a really, really strong end of 2020 going into a really strong beginning of 2021. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that today. I wanted to talk about getting organized and getting ready for a really, really big 2021. So December is a really great time to find, tone, and practice your organizational and your follow-up style and system. You want to get it all ironed out and working for you in December so you don't have to worry about trying to get it, pulled together at the beginning of the year. So it's a really, really good time right now to get everything worked out. So think about, how do you organize your hours, your days, your weeks? Are you call blocking? Are you following a calendar? Are you doing a 12-week year? Do you have hourly, daily, weekly goals for yourself? Do you have hourly, daily, weekly to-do list or list? Do you have follow-up lists or lists? How is that data organized? In my example, I've got a LinkedIn follow-up list that's all color coordinated. On the other page, it moves over to Calendarly appointments with notes. I'm following up with a client list, making sure I'm staying in front of my clients, making sure I have a book order list, following up on books that I've sent out. You want to make sure that if you have a follow-up system that's working for you, as your business and your team grows, people might want to see it. Hey, is that system duplicatable? Can you help me get organized? So this is something that's important to me, and I think it could really set you up to have a strong 2021. Another thing that I think is really important is having the right target audience. Mike does a great job talking about how we can't be everything to everybody, and we don't want to open conversations up with everybody. We want to have some kind of target. So who are those target people, right? How do you find them? How do you market to them once you find them? How do you get them on the phone, right? How do you find their problem? How do you present a solution if there is a solution? Do you understand their window of opportunity? I think this is kind of a big one because you're going to run into a lot of people that absolutely love and see value in what we do, but maybe the timing is wrong. So you have to have some kind of follow-up system to follow up with those people, right? Do you have that follow-up system to follow up until that window of opportunity opens up? Are you approachable? Are you easy to find, right? Can they get back to you easily? And then are you hiring up? Are you constantly looking for better and better talent? Because I know I am, and you definitely should be too. So we're going to be moving more to Zoom in 2021, but for those of us, including myself, that still use free conference call a lot, there's a new free conference call digital operator number. That's the number that you call to get a clear connection, and it bypasses any penny per minute type of deal. It used to be a 206 number. Now it's a 209 number. If you need that, let me know. Here it is right here. If anybody needs that, write it down or ask me and I'll text it to you or email it to you. So let's have a huge December and build momentum going into early 2021. I'm really excited about it. You can make 2021 your huge breakout year and one to remember. So can't wait to see Mike's training. Give me just a second to go ahead and grab him. Thanks.
All right, you guys, hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Let's move into, like Alana said, the end of this year. End it on a strong note, no matter what actually happened or did not happen this year for you. It'll springboard you into 2021, and this is the time that we want to be ultra aggressive. 2021 is going to be one of those years where we talk about the amount of people on the move, either voluntarily or involuntarily, from everything that's been happening. It's a huge opportunity for people like us who are talent scouts, to go out there and open conversation and bring in solid people into our organization who will help us build distribution of much-needed products and services. So 2021, it's a new year. So what we want to do is we want to reset, we want to reload, we want to get ready and make room for some things that are coming our way. Think positive, guys. When you think negatively, it's our worrying about what might happen on the negative side. It's actually inviting those things to come into your life. So, don't be in the same place this time next year. That should be your ultimate biggest fear, is to be in the same place you are right now this time next year. So make this a big year, like Alana said, and really work on what you need to do to get yourself where you want to go. And that's the most important thing. And you have to have an offensive game plan, not defensive. We're not at the end of the game holding on to a lead, running the clock down. We need massive offensive action here, and offense is the key word. Like we said, it's not a year to play defense, not a year to do anything else but be all out and aggressive. Remember, preparation is the key to victory, but you have to apply the game plan, and you have to execute that game plan. If you're just constantly in the state of preparation, I'm going to do this next week, I'm going to do this next month, I'm getting ready to do this, that's procrastination. So there's a fine line between preparation and procrastination. We want to prepare to win. We want to get a game plan that's according to what we want to see happen, and then we want to execute that game plan. We are moving more towards Zoom, and that's just because the latest free conference call updates have kind of backlogged and jammed up the system. So the only reason I'm even putting this out, this was emailed to me from free conference call today. I'm not asking you guys to do anything that we're not doing. We're doing this every single day until we don't have to anymore. 124,000 minutes over the last, I think I started using free conference call, we'll call it a 3-year period. What is that? It's 3 months on webinars in my entire life. So once again, I'm not asking you guys and I'm not teaching you guys anything other than what we're doing on a day in, day out basis. If you put the time in, you should get the return on the investment. If you're not, there's some things in between that pipeline that we can fix. You also have to understand that some things are going to be long-term and some things are going to be short-term. And the first thing you have to do is understand this, because what you're doing right now, you have to expect something out of it. So are you doing organic lead generation? Are you doing paid lead generation? Are you posting something on social media? Are you making a phone call? Are you sending an email or a text? Are you working in the warm, social, or cold market? All of these things have to be analyzed, because, for example, if I'm building my LinkedIn profile from zero, I'm not expecting in that 30-day period of time to have massive amounts of results from LinkedIn. It's going to take some months of putting out some decent content, putting out those messages, connecting with people, but it has immense and extreme long-term value for you as a digital marketer, you as an influencer, you as somebody who's teaching financial literacy, how money works. All of this stuff is very important. So you have some things that will return immediate results. Some things will be longer term. It doesn't mean that you just ignore all the long-term stuff because it doesn't have an immediate gratification or result. Got to be a good mix, and that's one of the things that we can help you with. The education part of this, and really this comes from a 1-2 combination. Remember, if we were a boxer, we're throwing combination punches, 1-2, 1-2, and that's from education. That's part of our combination punch. And the other one is activity. So how much activity are you going to put in over X period of time? And then what are you willing to do in some of the off time when you don't have that direct activity to increase your knowledge about everything you need to do to become a better entrepreneur, marketer, manager, consultant, salesperson, whatever it is that you do. Once again, a big fear of yours should be in the same place next year that you are right now. And that includes your knowledge about some of the things that we do on a daily basis. So remember, when you have education and a thirst for that knowledge, and you can not only bring stuff in that has an immediate impact on your business, but you create generational divides of that in terms of what people are doing 5, 6 generations down from you, that has an immediate or has an immense ripple effect, and the education in turn creates revenue and income for your organization. Also, the education standpoint comes from, a lot of different things, whether it's YouTube, whether it's reading books, whether it's listening to things. I'm concentrated on two things over the holiday season when I have some downtime. I'm going back through the 10X because I think 2021 is a great year to apply some of the philosophies of 10X because we have a lot of organizational growth expected. So if you can get yourself into a position to leverage that organizational growth, you'll have an incredible year. And then always, 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 guys, we're trying to defeat ourselves. And the 12-week year teaches us a lot of things, but it's good to review that if you're not familiar with the 12-week year. It is a great time management system. It's not easy. It causes you to have moments of reflection and identify personality defects, but over time, if you get this system correct, you get more out of a quarter than most people do out of a year, and then that applied over, a 36 or 48-month period of time, you can see what happens in terms of results. So the magnitude of the opportunity combined with the time management system will help me, hopefully next year, capitalize like we all want to. Also, look at what you do on a day-in, day-out basis, and this goes for, your time management. So if you're in the middle of the day attending a webinar about a sales process, is that as valuable as actually applying some things real life, calling people, talking to them? So you have to understand that we can go through life and we can be busy and we can work hard or we can work smart. Time is an investment and time is money. How are you going to spend your time next year? You got to organize a plan of action because A, you have to know what you're willing to invest in terms of the time and the activity. And then B, you've got to get an idea of what return you want out of that, because if you don't understand both parts of the equation, it's going to be very hard for you to understand if you're accomplishing, if you're growing, and if you're getting to those metrics or key points that you're trying to get to for your business. Also, one of the things that goes along with education and goes along with the whole point of what we're trying to stress here is that you have to understand how you get paid. That's very important. If you don't understand the compensation schedule, how you get paid, how you make money now going forward, A, you don't understand how you make money, and B, you can't teach anybody else. It's very important. So along with 10X, along with, 12-week year, reviewing your compensation, going and playing with income calculators, dream a little bit, because once you get to something where you want to get to in terms of mentally, understand I want to get to this point, rest of it's just a plan of action and executing that plan of action. And then on the other side, what does that compensation plan create for me in terms of income streams? And it's very important to understand a lot of the beginning stages of your business is going to be linear active income, meaning it's on your shoulders. As you build out and develop sales teams and offices, it goes into a more leveraged and passive income. You can't just go from zero to leveraged or passive income. There's got to be some sweat equity. There's got to be some time investment from you on the front end to get all this in motion. And then finally, you got to execute your game plan. Remember, the preparation is key, but if all we do is just continue to prepare, we got to show up on game day. When the tickets are sold and when the fans are in the stands, sports teams have to perform, and we see who is better prepared and who's better able to execute their game plan. Same thing in the business world. You see this all the time. We give you guys examples of innovative companies that have executed and traditional companies that have not innovated, and what's happened to them? Well, they fall by the wayside. And we have numerous examples over the last 25 years, mostly built around technology. Remember, technology can create and technology can destroy market share. So you have to understand that when I'm in the position to go out and do what I need to do on a daily basis, that's the execution of the game plan. And between your strategy and what you want is the execution. If there's a big divide between there, you got to fix that. If it's running almost parallel, then you should be seeing great results. What's the difference here? Because this is very, very important. I think this is one of the areas that we all have trouble in terms of personally and then building out an organization. And one of the things that you have to understand is the difference between responsibility and accountability. The difference is that responsibility can be shared amongst a group of people. Accountability is on you. It cannot. So you, A, have to be accountable to yourself. to your team, to your organization. And when you're able to do that, you can start demanding accountability from other people. If you have groups or offices or sales teams, whatever you want to call it, that are all accountable to each other and the organizational mission as a whole, you're going to be unstoppable. If you have loose pockets of accountability, well, you've got to mend that together. You have to have an organization that's committed to the end result, and that means all the way from the top to the bottom. There's got to be accountability there, because accountability is the glue that's going to combine everything together and make it stick. You've got three things that our business consists of, and that's sales, marketing, and management. Now, you could be involved in all these, could be involved in one or two of these, but as your business grows, if you're willing to go out there and get better at these three sectors of our business model, then you're going to see definite improvements in what happens for you. And what that means is better partners coming in, more revenue, more income, more equity ownership. So let's talk a little bit about this, and let's go through this. Marketing has to be part of your 2021 game plan. If you are not good at marketing, that's okay. You know, no one is born as an expert marketer, but what we stress is you have to learn from us, and you have to learn on your own, and you have to be willing to go out there, implement stuff, fail, find the successes, repeat, you know, make a fool out of yourself sometimes. Everything's not going to work out for you. And if you're the type of person that is a perfectionist, constantly reviewing stuff, just throw it out there. The market will ultimately decide if it works or not, because you could spend a lot of time creating this perfect thing. Oh, this is awesome. Throw it out there and get no reaction. We wasted a lot of time. Just implement and test things. The marketplace will tell you what works and what doesn't work. But the first thing that you have to do as an entrepreneur is you have to be visible. You have to make sure people know that you're actually in business. And that's really one of the biggest things that you can do going into the new year is make yourself visible. Do people even know who you are, what you do? Go out there. You know, an open sign like this versus an open sign like this, there's differences. So what you have to understand is we're a visual society these days. So when you're going out there, the images, the colors, everything you're putting out there is going to serve one purpose. Grab that person's attention enough to give you a few extra seconds to try to go to the next step of your marketing agenda, your funnel, whatever it possibly is. So understand, are you visible? How visible are you? And what are you doing to stand out in the marketplace? And then implement, like I said, test and try. You've got to learn how to start conversations. And this is not a pitch. This is not a sell. If you constantly do that, the marketplace is going to ignore you 100%. It's going to be crickets. But if you understand how to start conversations, talk to people, ask questions, they'll give you all the information you need. And you've got so much on the other side in terms of what you can possibly do on the client or partner side. People will give you the information. What happens from that? You uncover things, problems that they're having that you can step in now when you've identified that problem with solutions and action steps. It's a very easy process to follow. Most everybody today does not follow it. They go right for somebody's throat. So when you come in with a different approach and you show interest in other people, it builds interest in what you're doing. That starts with a simple, hey, hello, how are things going? How are you doing? And that's all we're doing. It's so easy, guys, that when you kind of submit and succumb to what we're doing, it's just about, you know, showing interest in other people, trying to help them. Remember, it's a very easy flow here. Once I learn how to open conversations and build that, you know, quick rapport with people, the trust, credibility comes out from what you're trying to do. And then you got to continue the conversation. Every single thing you do, I don't care how small it is, has to have a target or objective. Why am I sending this text? Why am I calling this person? What am I trying to do here? In the beginning, it's basically about videos and just some general information. From that point, it's about getting them through the step-by-step process of resolving that lead. If you're good at opening conversations, the next step is continuing those conversations. And that's usually with very simple scripts, very simple questions, and then finally, direct conversations. So all of this right here, continuing and directing conversations, is going to happen on the phone regardless. Either it's going to happen from you or the other side. The most confident person on the phone, regardless of how much or how little they know about the end product or service, the most confident person is going to control that conversation. All you're looking to do is build a pipeline, have people in different cycles of communication, and resolve those leads. You're not trying to manufacture interest or demand for what we're doing. The demand's already there. You just have to let people know that solutions exist and what it can do for them. And then from that point, your last step, and we always talk about this, is to upgrade your market. That's meaningful conversations. Now can you start negotiations with talented people that can really help build distribution, build organizations. This is not so much on the client side. Yeah, you want to, improve that side of the business as well. But the meaningful conversations, the commitment, the negotiations, that's more on recruiting talent, bringing them in and getting them in to buy into our mission. Remember, you are doing everything on a daily basis to accomplish targets and to get objectives completed. That's everything that you do. If you go into something, a phone conversation, an email or text, you're not sure why you're sending it or why you're calling this person or what you're trying to accomplish, you need to go back to the drawing board, because every single thing is a step-by-step process. Easier to duplicate that, easier to teach people, and easier for you to get an exit strategy from this business if you've got people independent of yourself. Sales pipeline, partner network pipeline. That's the two sides of our business. You've got client revenue and income coming in from what you're doing, and then you've got management overrides, leadership overrides, organizational growth, distribution being built out from your partner network. Like a seesaw or balance, you're going to decide how much you want to concentrate on the client side, how much you want to concentrate on the partner side. Is it an even balance? Are you going over the clients heavily? That's up to you. We're not going to tell you to do anything, but you do need a balanced approach here, because with that, once again, you're accessing all the streams of income and you're building a complete business model instead of a partial one. The follow-up, remember, once you've got those conversations in place, your game plan has to include follow-up. And this is the thing that makes or breaks people, whether it's producers, whether it's people building distribution. If you refuse to follow up, somebody else is. That partner, that revenue, that client, that income, that goes over to the other side. You have to follow up, and you have to follow up in a meaningful way, like we talk about, with targets and objectives, and all that does is produce conversions. Whether that's no, yes, it doesn't really matter to us. We're looking to help the people that want to help themselves on the client side, and then on the partner side, we're looking for people who actually want to help other people, and they see the problem, they see that we have the solution, they want to be part of it. If you're not following up with people, if you're good at lead generation, but you suck at follow-up, you're going to pay the ultimate price for that. I don't think any of us are really as good at follow-up as we should, and this can separate a $50,000 earner from a $500,000 earner. The do's and don'ts of lead follow-up. Don't be that person. I got to be honest with you guys. If somebody calls me from a company and says, hey, my name is John, I'm just following up, I'm done. I delete the voicemail right there. It's the worst thing. You've got to be interesting. If everybody's calling to follow up and you're calling to follow up, you're like everybody else. You have to set yourself aside. Be creative in your text, be creative in your voicemails, be creative in your emails, stay within compliance, but be creative and bring value to the table. Also, part of your game plan, guys, this is the convergence of the money business, financial services, with social media and online marketing. Don't have to spread yourself too thin, and quite frankly, you don't have to have all of this stuff. Like Alana was saying, and like we teach on the persona side, you can't be everything to everyone. You can't be everything in social media, so pick it apart. Where do we start? Obviously with the king, LinkedIn, and then we move over to Facebook and things like that. Don't open a bunch of accounts and spend your day posting, interacting. If it's returning nothing to you, make sure you concentrate on something that does have a return, and then as you feel comfortable with that and becomes second nature, branch out. And then remember, as you're in social media, as you're building your LinkedIn, as you're building your Facebook, as you're building all of these things, you have to provide education, you have to provide entertainment, and you can't be that person that's constantly pitching things. Bring value to the table, and like I said, if you do that, that engagement will build over time, and you'll have people that look forward to your content, and they'll start opening conversations with you. Remember, if you have 0 followers, that's okay. You get great followers by producing great content, and we've got plenty of things that we can send over your way. killer ideas to post on social media, video ideas, guides, anything that you need to provide value to the marketplace, you should be able to find pretty easily. And then the next thing in the kind of three-legged stool of what we do in the business model is management. And our management is nothing more than leadership. And once you understand that, it starts to become easy to, A, identify the people you're actually looking for, and B, bring them into a structure that's going to create a cycle where they are very dependent on you at first, like a baby, and then they're going to become interdependent, where you start to coach and mentor them. They're going to become independent, where you have a business and probably a personal relationship with them. They don't need you anymore. That's leveraged passive income. That's a great a return of that time investment that you put into that person on the front end. Really, being an entrepreneur is about solving problems on a daily basis. Being a manager, being a leader of offices, of sales teams, same thing. People are going to have problems, and you're going to bring solutions to the table. If you're the type of leader that's going to dwell on the problem, that gets passed down. And then you got a bunch of people that are always, anxious, and they're overwhelmed, and they're not concentrating on the right thing. When people bring you problems, you bring them solutions, that gets passed down as well. You want to be solutions-based. Don't dwell on problems. Dwell on the solution. Get excited about the recruitment side. So a lot of these, network marketing opportunities, MLMs, they recruit to, A, make money off the sign-up, and then they, B, recruit to sell you something. Well, here we recruit to build sales teams. They're going to help with distributions of products and services that are much needed in today's society. Financial illiteracy is a big problem. So we're out there tackling that. So you're not recruiting to sell people things. You're recruiting to build effective sales teams. And that's really what you're trying to do. And that comes back from a leadership standpoint, a management standpoint. You've got to put time into people. Now, if they're unwilling to meet you halfway and make that commitment that you guys agreed upon in the interview, that's one thing. But if they're coming to the table constantly with activity, you've got to meet them halfway, and you've got to put the time into them that you promised on the front end. Leadership factory. And that's all you really want to look at in terms of mentally as a managerial perspective for this business. I'm a leadership factory. My job is to bring in raw material on the front side and create leaders that can oversee office that they build, that I help them build, and then crank out a portfolio of digital agencies out of that. You can't have a portfolio of digital agencies that pay you passive income unless you've gone through the process of effectively putting leaders in control of those offices. Organizational management is important to understand because, remember, if you've got a team of 500-600, you can't talk to 500 or 600 people every day. That's where organizational management comes into place. You've got your leaders that you talk to. Once again, the leadership factory, if you've got that group of 7 to 10 that you're talking to, they go talk to their teams. It's very easy to build once you understand the management and the hierarchy, and then really what you need to do from a communication standpoint. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some effort, and it's going to take some nurturing. You're not just going to throw people against the wall. That's not our model. If that's your model, it doesn't really fit into what we're trying to do here. You may find some success, but ultimately you're going to go through a lot of people. You're not going to have anything come out of that. So you've got to spend some time with these people, help them, knowing that a percentage of these people on the back end are going to create passive income for you. Stay connected. If you're not connected with your team in 2021, you're not going to have a team in 2021. It's very important. In a virtual world, you've got to stay connected. They've got to make sure that they feel that they can call on you for help, that you're available, that you actually still care about them. Remember, recruiting top talent doesn't end when they say, okay, let's do this, and they come in. Recruiting top talent goes through the first 60 or 90 days to make sure and reinforce, hey, they made a good decision. I'm here for you. We're going to get this done. It's very possible that you can throw together quite a number of agencies next year if you're just following this game plan. Remember, successful people are always looking for opportunities to help others. And once my mindset started to, or once my marketing started to alter and kind of revolve around that mindset, it became a lot easier for me to start upgrading my market and talking to better and better people. Unsuccessful people are always asking, what's in it for me? So when we approach the marketplace from like a client or a sales side, that's what we understand. They don't care about anything we're doing from our side until they understand what's in it for me. But from our standpoint, we're always looking to help people. And the more people you serve, the more relationships that you form, the more money you're going to make. Sales process. This is really the last piece of the puzzle. Some of you guys are involved in this. Some of you guys are not involved in this. But you need to understand that sales increase as we have a sales process that does a number of things. And it's very important. We're not pitching and we're not really selling during this process. We're educating and we're disqualifying and we're providing solutions. Get to know your clients. Remember, we talked about this. People that don't buy from you, most likely it's because you didn't take the time to get to know them well enough where they feel from their side that you did that well enough to understand their problems in order to solve them. So part of the process in the education process is to educate yourself on the client. So, where they come from, a little bit about their background, what is it that they're struggling with, why are they meeting with you, all of these things. Don't dominate client conversations. The client should be talking as much, if not more than you, during these meetings. Remember, as salespeople, nothing should go undefined. We need to understand exactly what our customers mean when they tell us what they're thinking. Don't just gloss over things. If you find pain points, dig in. If you find things that are coming back from the client, have them expand on it. The human being that exerts the greatest amount of emotional control in the sales process has the highest probability in getting the outcome they actually want. So once again, it's very, very easy once you understand what we're trying to do. You're trying to provide some insight and some education up here through that process, getting to know the client, not qualifying people, but disqualifying the ones that don't make sense, and you're getting to solve the problem. So the sales process is not hard. The only thing that we do wrong is we never get to know the client. We're so pent up with, giving them the information and telling them everything that we know that by the end of the process, we haven't got to know them at all. And that's why most salespeople fail. Get to know your clients. You're only going to be able to solve problems when you talk to them. And then through the whole sales process, guys, if you're always getting the same type of objections, learn how to, in the process, preemptively overcome those objections before they even come up. It's an easier way than having to rebuttal just to preemptively overcome, make sure the client understands and that makes sense to them, and then group together successful people. The old saying, keeping up with the Joneses, or, some of the things that we do to make ourselves in what we consider a successful crowd. People want to succeed. They want to make good decisions, and when they know other people that have found success have made those same decisions, it's easier for them to start saying, okay, this makes sense. It's worked for them. I'm going to do this. Be better and be different at everything you do, through marketing, through sales, through management. If everybody else is doing the same thing and they're not finding success, you've got to be different. You've got to get in front of people differently. You've got to get to know them differently. And you've got to make sure that at the end of the day, you set yourself apart from everybody else. Because if you do the same thing that everybody else does in an industry that's measured in trillions, you've got to compete. I don't want to compete in this industry. I want to stand alone. I want to stand apart, and I want to be different. Provide value first. And this is very, very important. So the educational material, all these things that we provide, online, through email, leading up to client meetings, that really gets us at the bottom of that pyramid, rapport, trust, and credibility. You can't get to the rest of the pyramid without getting through that. When you learn how to provide value first, it will take care of a lot of that bottom of the pyramid, because everybody else handing out rocks. If you're handing out diamonds, then obviously you stand out in the crowd. So remember, when everybody's selling stuff, when everybody's pitching stuff, and you're coming in there with something for free that can immediately educate or help that person, they're going to be drawn to you. 2021 is going to be an explosive year. Like a lot of us talking about, like I've talked about, there's times to be kind of patient and there's times to be aggressive. There's so many people on the move. There's so many people looking for peace of mind, control. on the client side, on the partner side. If you're just willing to go out and follow this game plan, open conversation, get to know people, and then learn how to continue and direct those conversations, business becomes very easy because then all you do, put people in the appropriate slots. Remember, this is not going to be a year where you tried and you did your best, and at the end of the year, you get mediocre results. If you're willing to follow our lead, if you're willing to work hard this year and willing to have the activity, the education, and go all out, there's going to be an explosive year. This is not going to be, like I said, one of the years where you put in maximum effort and get minimal results. It all started here. In your business, like so many people talk about, it usually comes from some place where you put in a 90, 120-day run of constant, steady, aggressive, intensive action. Now, you could have heard something today on this meeting that inspires you. That's great. But it's going to start somewhere. And once you put in that 3 to 4 month run, that's where the business really starts to build out and blossom. And that's where you start getting multi-directional growth and you start moving up the income ladder and accessing multiple streams. You got to do something awesome today. And we're talking about 2021, and we're talking about where it's going to start. It's going to start with you, and it's going to start today, and it's going to start with a decision to take action, open a conversation, do something that's going to create interest in what you do. Like we always talk about, if nobody knows that you're in business, nobody knows what you do, how do you ever expect to be approached with questions, requesting more information, or any of the other things that we need to set forth a communication cycle that's going to produce outcomes? First thing that I would do really going into the new year is identify what is it that you want out of the year. What are your revenue goals? What are your income goals? What are your personal goals? Whatever it is, identify what you want, because the easiest way not to get what you want is to not have any idea actually what you want. Once you understand what you want, just reverse engineering that back down to what you need to do on a month, week, or daily basis. The vision is very important. If you don't understand what you want, you don't have a strong vision that compels you, what you'll find is that it's easy to get distracted along the way. So, guys, I hope this has helped going into 2021. Obviously, we've still got this entire month, but I want you guys to start thinking about, growth, exponential growth, 10x growth, and how do I build a 6 or 7 figure business?
Wow, that was really, really great, Mike. I hope you all got as much out of it as I did. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and then we can open up the meeting for questions or comments. Thanks.